Mm. I noticed the sound of traffic in the distance.
I noticed the trees behind you and also wondering what time of day it is because it looks like it's getting a little dark.
It is. The sun is setting in 2 hours. 2 hours it will be dark here.
Mm.
I notice energy in my chest, up my throat. And at this moment, I realize I don't have a label for it. I don't know what it is. But I notice that I judge it as something getting in the way. As if it wasn't there, I would be more joyful, relaxed, confident.
I noticed when you talked about the throat, I noticed how dry mine feels. And then also noticing some tension in my jaw and in my stomach. And I'm noticing that yeah, it feels really tight. And
I noticed a shift in your face after you said that. Keeps me curious.
yeah, I was wondering what would happen if I changed my position a little bit. So I was feeling very tight. And as I move around, I notice my breathing is changing and my throat feels, it's still a little dry and stuff, but it's a lot less tension.
Sort of struck, somewhat amazement, and um, about the vulnerability that I experience right now. I think I notice in you a high degree of presence and Again, something I can't actually name. Form of sensitivity.
I noticed when you smiled, I noticed, especially that big smile, I noticed that I felt more relaxed. That was somewhat disarming, that it felt very welcoming. And I noticed myself wanting to do something to make you smile again.
Yeah, that worked.
Mission accomplished.
I really notice right now what a difference this is as compared to our conversation before. There's much more space here, my experience. I notice more of your presence. I'm
Yeah, likewise.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
fascinating how this removes the distance. Like I see you on the computer screen, but I still feel that we are here.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like I'm seeing you very differently in this process than I was seeing you when we were just talking, regularly talking. It's it's a slower paced, more connected type of interaction. I notice I enjoy your presence and you don't even need so much dialogue to fill in the spaces. You know, it's
Yeah. I notice I enjoy sitting in solitude, just this beingness. And then I recognize a pressure over my chest and that how that's connected to the whole framework. Like, oh, I'm recording this, we're both aware that I'm recording this. That's there as a sort of structure, creates this tension, sort of fixated.
mm,
Mm.
yeah, as you know, as I described to you before this, I had a lot of hesitation in doing this, and I had some fear, and now it feels like I just doesn't seem to matter so much. I'm finding that if I were sitting here alone in quiet, it would be very different. Even if we're not talking to each other, there's something about the being with.
I'm struck now by how well we know each other in a sense because of all the previous practice.
Yeah.
And it's more in an open felt sense. It's not filled with content or anything. It's just,
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. I'm sometimes amazed when I compare it with how I relate to certain other people when it's not so much presence, and how different that feels.
hmm. Yeah, hearing you say that, the words that come to my mind is effort as compared to effortlessness.
Yeah. And I notice it takes the mind out of it too, because you don't know what's going to happen or what is going to be said. And it's very different than typical conversations where you're trying to get a message across. This is a very different way of relating. This is a way of feeling really seen and feeling like you're really seeing the other person. It's like when we do this, I think I see aspects of you that I would totally miss in regular conversation. Not that I enjoy our regular conversations too, but there's something different and unique.
I want to continue investigating. It's like there's two elements of my experience right now. This open space, the complete connectedness I feel with you, and much of which resonated for me with what you said. And then at the same time, it's this fear structure, sort of fixated on the screen, very attentive. And it's right here in the middle of all of that.
Mhm.
Uh, some reason I got this image of a desolate nuclear wasteland. That that is this fear structure, not the rest of it. That's sort of this greenery and beautiful and everything.
To me, it feels like kind of riding two different experiences at once. Like I feel very in the moment, but it doesn't negate anything else that's happening. It's just more of my attention is focused here, and it's a richer experience.
I notice now, like the phrase come to my mind that I've heard so many people say so many times, and it's I wish it was always like this. I wish relating was always like this. No pressure, effortless, really arriving in this rich, connected, relaxed, enjoyable experience.
I had that thought too, but I was thinking in terms of like a work Zoom meeting. Can you imagine how it would be if it started off with like a minute of just without going right into it? But I even wonder, Alex, because this is so powerful, and until you experience it, you don't really realize, it's hard to understand this until you actually do it for you. But I even had this thought earlier today in another Zoom meeting of what would it be like to take this out into our everyday experience? And even if other people aren't exactly aren't doing the authentic relating, how would it be even from a one-sided, from myself?
Mm. Just as you said that, I got aware of how often I detach and disconnect when somebody annoys me or triggers me or isn't the way I want them to be in how they connect with me. And taking what you just said in, the flip side would be to just express what I'm feeling, which, yeah, it evokes some fear now. Say that I'm getting upset, I'm getting annoyed. I notice now how, yeah, I notice now how I want to detach because I feel pressured by this.
Yeah. But that's going into the thoughts. It's like in the moment with the presence and in speaking it out, the being aware of, because you can't even really address it if you're not aware of it. And that's something that I just also discovered recently where I was in a meeting and I was really feeling very triggered. And I just brought more awareness to that trigger and really sat with it. And it became obvious what to do rather than trying to think what to do was more feeling into what was happening in the moment and responding from that as opposed to reacting, which is, like a typical. It's also kind of more exciting because in this kind of a framework, you don't you don't really know what's going to happen next, or what feeling's going to come, or what thought you're going to have, or what, it's so much richer.
I noticed the sun coming out from the clouds. I, oh, I noticed how that sounded externally as disrespectful because some pressure says to me that I should have responded to everything that you said. But I know that I took it in and that it was valuable to me and that it landed in me. And then after having after having felt that settled, I felt the impulse to notice something. Then came the thought, oh, that could be perceived as disrespectful, like I didn't care what you said or something, like that I should have to show you somehow.
The irony in that is, as you know, that's one of my triggers, is when I feel disrespected, but yet this felt anything but that. This kind, because you feel so seen, that you you feel heard by yourself, as well as seeing the other person and hearing their experience. There's a connection there. There's no, the whole concept of respect doesn't even seem to make sense
Mm.
in that space.
No, I genuinely smile because I appreciate so much how you phrased that and what
I
it
don't even.
meant. Yeah.
This feels like such a powerful way of relating. I think so many misunderstandings would be avoided if people could be more present in the moment to what their experience is, and truly be in the space of presence to receiving from the other person. It just seems like there's not what gets in the way, and I think causes conflict, is thoughts and assumptions and all the thinking. And somehow this practice seems to remove that layer. So there's not that in between us in this kind of relating. It feels it feels more, I don't know if intimate is it feels just more like some barrier is not there that is in the typical day-to-day relating with people.
That is exactly how I would put it. It might sound a bit dramatic, but it truly is my experience that as we do this practice, slow down enough to actually be transparent with what arrives, we get a more intimate connection with our experience of reality, like the totality of it. Mm. In this present moment, in this flowing moment.
Yeah, maybe that's it. When you said the word reality, that hit. And yeah, reality, not all the thinking that gets in the way, all the perceptions, all the stories, all the, yeah.
And to me, really, the mystery of connection. Like it's a mystery to me that we can be so connected. Uh,
Yeah,
have the Atlantic in like in the material physical world in between us, but makes
I know.
matters none right now. Uh,
Well, it, even it's funny because even though our environments are so different and environmentally we're so far apart, it really doesn't, none of that really, I feel like I'm right there as I look at the background behind you, Alex. It just I feel like I'm there. It's like, and I see something behind you that looks like a barn, but I'm not sure what it is. Some
oh,
structure there,
there's a barbecue
triangle,
also.
right?
Yeah.
What is it?
It is. I think it is a barn. Uh,
Oh, okay.
there's a barbecue
Oh,
too.
yeah, I see that now.
And there's my car. Yay. And here's soon the sunset to be.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Brilliant.
And you have trees that are unlike that we don't have trees like that here in Florida.
You have palms, don't you?
Yeah, it's very different. But yet it does, I feel like it's just, if we weren't talking about that, I wouldn't even be aware of that.
Yeah.
That's the irony.
Yeah.
It's
And thank you for this, Deborah. Really
thank you.
enjoyed it.
Me too.